grab your mat and some good vibes, and let's get moving. Let's get started with our breath, the most important part. So we anchor our breath. We find that sweet spot of strength and surrender. So let's just take a moment here to connect to the physical and energetic body with big breaths. I like to close my eyes here. Just a moment of gratitude for this beautiful body that we have. We're going to challenge with some body weight postures today. So I turn to the side so you can see my feet are a little bit wider than hip distance as I drop down into the first squat. We're just going to move through body weight squats nice and slow here. Keep the pace nice and intentional, nice and slow as you lower down, anchoring your energy into the earth underneath you. When we rise back up to the top, don't lock those knees out, but engage those quads. Feel that burn. Moving through these air squats nice and slow. I like to put my hands up. If you notice, it keeps my chest from collapsing, but find what works for you and your body here. So we move through these body weight squats with a lot of intention and focus, driving and pushing the earth away. We're going to stop here at the bottom of our last squat and just hold. As we transition into B stance variation squats, I'm going to take that back leg and just pivot it out a little bit and use that front leg to do all the work. So I'm high on the tippy toe and I'm utilizing my right leg as my forceful leg, pushing the earth away and just using that back leg for balance, but staying as high on that tippy toe as I can. Breathe. Notice how we want to go faster here. We want to push through with speed to get this over with. But if we slow down and we anchor our thoughts with our breath, we can do it. We can maintain this nice pace. So we transition back into center squats, balancing things back out, lowering down with intention, rising to the top with that little quadricep squeeze, but not locking the knees out. Move slow, move with intention. Feel those big muscles as we transition into B stance squat on the other side. So just kick that back leg out, pivot it out just a little bit, and stay high on those tippy toes as we lower into a squat using that left leg as the forceful leg. Lowering slowly and then pushing the earth away. Little baby quad squeezes at the top without locking out the knee all the way. I like to keep my hands high to keep the chest high, but do what works for you here. Breathe into those big muscles as we transition back into a center squat. My arms stay high as I pulse, 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 pulse. Slow down those thoughts. Here we go. Breathe. Pulse, 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 and come to standing. Here we go. Pulse, 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 pulse. Big breaths. Here we go. Lowering down and up. Down and up. Making those big muscles work. Here we go. Back into standing position for one more slow squat. Here we go. We're going to come into a wide leg sumo position. So my toes are pointing outward and I'm just guiding my knees out. I actually don't like sumo squats. That's why you'll see me start to smile. I am training my brain and my body to enjoy this movement with small little smiles. So it's like a plie outward. Just making those inner thighs talk as we alternate onto the tippy toes. See that smile? That is activating happy thoughts here as I put my body in discomfort. Transition into alternating high on the tippy toes while maintaining that sumo squat, and come up to standing. Big breaths, big smile. Lower back down as we squat. Down and up. Down and up. I like to keep my arms out just to make sure my chest stays high and everything stays aligned. But do what feels good for you. Big breaths. Nice little pause at the bottom there. Smile. And come back up to standing. As we transition into a hack squat, I'm going to show you we step wide, lower all the way, don't let that booty drop, but pick up that toe on the opposite leg. Just letting that inner thigh totally open as we alternate from side to side. So again, the booty doesn't drop, but the toe picks up, opening that inner thigh. I like to look at it. I like to connect my thoughts, my eyes to the body part. But again, do what feels good for you. And we're just going to transition, staying high now in that alternating lateral lunge. Find what works for your arms. Some people like to put them behind their ears. Some people want to put them on their hips. Find what works for you. Little smile, because we're done. I don't like those. Let's make our way to the ground. Control your transition to the floor. Bring those heels towards the booty. Press the spine into the floor to activate the core as you bring those hips up into a glute bridge. Lower back down. And squeeze knees towards nose. Really squeeze here. Lower the feet, then the head. As the hips come up, lower the hips slowly. Squeeze knees towards nose. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Lower the feet, then the head as the hips rise up. It's a fluid movement here. So really feel into this. Make it feel good for your body. Squeeze knees towards nose, lower feet down, head comes down as hips rise. Drop those hips back down, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Lower feet, then lower head as hips come up. Move through this fluidly. Find some grace here. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Lower feet, then head as hips rise. A couple of glute bridges here. Just really keep that core nice and engaged. Squeeze the booty at the top. Squeeze. One more. Nice little glute bridge. Now we're going to transition into some deep transverse abdominal work. You'll see me feeling into my belly. I recommend doing that. Hips come up as we bring knee towards face and slowly lower. We're going to alternate here. So hips stay high. Notice how you have to counter your balance. Really push that foot, that standing foot, into the earth as you bring the knee towards the nose. So really feel into that counterbalance. I'm going to change my hands position here just to make it a little bit more challenging. The harder I press my hands together here, the more contraction I get in those deep muscles. And then if I reach my arms overhead, it's even more challenging. So find what works for you. Find what feels good, but make sure to move very slow here. This is not about speed. This is about integrity in these movements. Feel those belly muscles. Drop that booty down. Extend the legs out all the way as we transition into V-ups. So we're going to do 2 regular V-ups into 3 little pulses. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Lower back down. Regular V-up. 1 more. And then this one's going to be a pulse, pulse, pulse. Lower down. 1 more. Pulse, pulse, lower down. Switching sides. You'll be able to see my elbow better on this side. Elbow stays anchored to the ground. This is what keeps me from flailing my body up. There's no momentum here. Nice and slow and controlled, using the elbow as an anchor. Pulse. Oops, sorry. Here we go. Pulse, 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 and lower. Here we go. Up. And pulse, 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 and lower. Whew. Those abs should be burning. This is my favorite core engagement. It doesn't look like much, but it's humbling. So we're going to take hands and connect them to the knees, and we're going to press the hands into the knees, and we're going to press the knees into the hands. Grounding and anchoring the spine to the floor. I utilize big breaths here, as if I'm blowing out a birthday candle. And then I activate my dead bug. I'm going to alternate side to side. As I connect my hand to my knee again, I'm going to press hand into knee, knee into hand as I move through this. So each time my hand connects to the knee, there is a lot of pressure, a lot of force, a lot of control though. So we are keeping that engagement as we move through this dead bug. Locking the spine to the floor. Move slow. Move intentional. Really breathe big balloon breaths here. Like you're blowing out a candle or you're filling up a balloon. Breathe. Big breaths. Working through this dead bug. And then just to finish it off, a little bit of pressure at the end where we hold, 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 but not your breath. And release. Let's come up into a down dog. Just pedal those feet. Do what feels good here. There's a lot of belly, a lot of core movement. So just pedal those feet out. Make it feel good. We're going to come into a bear position. Knees stay high and neutral as we step the right leg, then the left. Right comes back in forward, left comes back in forward. Left comes out into plank, right comes out into plank. As we alternate through this. Back, back, forward, forward. Back, back, forward, forward. Always maintaining a nice neutral position in the spine. Notice how you have to counter the weight here. All these transverse abdominal muscles really have to kick in to hold you in this position while fighting gravity. Really feel into that opposition and keep the spine as neutral as possible here. Notice how my head is in a neutral position. I'm looking down at the mat in front of me. I'm not looking forward. And push back into a down dog. Go ahead and pedal it out. Make it feel good. Open up those hamstrings and that spine. As we go into this little froggy position here, we're going to kind of catapult into a push-up. I'm going to do 2 of these as the full posture and then show you a modified version. So notice there's a little walkout with that push-up from that froggy position. And then for a modified version, we're going to move from down dog froggy position into this lovely knee position, lower the chest down and push up, tuck those toes, push back into down dog. That is the modified version, dropping down onto the knees, lowering the chest, pushing it up, tucking those toes, and pushing back into down dog. Back into the full extension. Find what works for you. Little tiny baby movements with the feet in order to align the body properly for that push-up. But notice how the core has to engage for those little micro feet movements in order to align the body perfectly for that push-up. Flow with this. And we're going to come onto our side here. Ooh, reach, open up that side, reach, 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 reach. As you crunch that knee in, reach, extend that leg out behind you, crunch in. Open up that hip flexor and crunch in. Notice how my face looks towards my hand and then towards my knee. So I am guiding my body with my eyes here. Look, reach, and squeeze. Look, reach, and squeeze. Switching over to the other side. Make your little adjustments to your hair and your pants. Squeeze, reach, squeeze, reach, squeeze, reach, squeeze. Big expansive breaths. Open up those hip flexors. Squeeze into that belly. We're just going to switch. Here we go. Squeeze, reach, squeeze, reach, squeeze, reach, squeeze. Keep it going with your own breath. Switching over to the other side. No fancy transitions here. Just right into the other side. Find your breath. Find your rhythm. Breathe, big breaths. Reach and squeeze. Reach and squeeze. Beautiful. Guess what? We get to do it all over again. But now you know what you're doing. So drop down into those bodyweight squats. This time we're going to be more intentional. Now that you know what you're doing, we're going to dial in that intention. So as you lower into your squats, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the quads, and then notice where your thoughts are. Are you saying nice things? Are you telling yourself you're tired? This is hard? Are you cheering yourself on? Remember, we're just moving our body with intention, working through these squats. Lower and hold. Come back up as we transition into those B stance. Making the front leg do all the work here. Keeping those hands high to keep the chest high. Keeping everything aligned. Letting that front leg do all the magic. Back toe stays high on the tippy toes. Notice if you start shaking here. That's good. That's normal. It's our nervous system saying, whoa, what are we doing? This is hard. But that's okay. Breathe through it. Slow down. Transition back into center squats. Nice and slow. Never speeding it up. Nice and slow. If anything, in the second half of the workout, we slow down even more, making this last bit of energy super intentional. Why rush through it? Hopefully this is the hardest thing you do today. Nice and easy with those squats. Lowering down with intention and hold. Come back up as we transition into the B stance squats on the other side. Staying high on that tippy toe. So we lower down and come back center. We're going to alternate B stance, regular squat. B stance on the other side. Back to center. Squat down, alternating B stance, making that front leg do all the work as we flow through this. Center squat into B stance, center squat into B stance, center, pulse, 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 pulse it out. Here we go, all the way up. There's that smile. She's like, yay, we did that. It's hard. Into sumos. Nice and wide here. Lowering down, making the inner thighs bring us back up. Smile. Knees go wide, knees go wide. Slow it down. Here we go. Alternate heels up onto the tippy toes. Smile. Heel up, and drop back down. Heel up. Alternating. Holding that lovely sumo squat in the center and come back to standing. Shake out those legs. Right on into our hack squat. Look at where you're going so you land. Lift that toe and alternate. Lift that toe, keep the booty high, and swing back to the other side. Lift that toe and alternate. Never letting the booty drop all the way down, but it gets pretty close. Just move through this fluidly. And here we go. Stay high and shift the weight from right to left. In that lateral lunge, alternating back and forth. Smile. It really does make a difference. Woo! Back at the top of the mat just so that we can transition back to the floor. This is my favorite part. Control your transition to the floor. Knees stay bent, feet are planted as the hips come up high for that glute bridge. Into crunch. Squeeze knees towards nose. Squeeze knees in towards nose. Feet come down, head stay up. Push the earth away as the hips rise. Knees come in, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Lower the feet, then the head as the hips rise. Squeeze, 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 crunch. Lower the feet, then the head as the hips come up. Work through this with your breath. Squeeze knees in, lower feet, lower head as hips come up. Squeeze. Working through this. Adjust your mat. I always wiggle on this one. It makes me like inchworm. Hips come up. We're just going to hold that glute bridge for 1 second. Squeeze at the top, lower. Squeeze at the top and lower. Hips come high, squeeze and lower. Hips are high. As we move through these transverse abdominal core activation movements, you're going to bring one knee in towards nose. Oof. Find what works for your hands here. Pressing the palms together is going to create more pressure. Hands down on the floor is going to create more balance, so find what works for you. This is not about moving fast. Keep those hips nice and level as you counter that balance. Really push the standing foot into the earth, anchoring you. Bringing that opposite knee towards nose, squeezing those core muscles. Squeeze the glutes to keep you up. Breathe. Working through this. Feeling strong. And lower the hips back down. We're going to work through those V-ups. I'm going to do 2. Followed by 3 pulses. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Lower back down. 1, 2, and pulse, pulse, pulse. 1, 2, and pulse, pulse, pulse. Switching sides. 1, 2. Here we go. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Remember, keep that elbow anchored to the ground. Use it to help you balance but stay anchored, grounded. There's no momentum here. Pulse up and pulse up. Here we go. Come through into your down dog. Pedal it out. Just do what feels good here. We're going to drop into that bear position. Give yourself a neutral spine by looking at the mat directly in front of your hands as you step one leg back and then the other. In, out, out. Forward, forward, back and back. Forward, forward, back, back. Forward, forward, back, back. Move through this with your breath. Notice how much you have to counter when you kick one leg back and the other one stays in the bear position. Really feel into that opposite side, anchoring your strength there. Little bear hold at the end. Breathe. Breathe. And push back into your down dog. Pedal those feet. Do what feels good. Walk it out. Into that nice lovely frog push-up. Again, find what works for you here. Notice those subtle little feet movements that have to take place in order to align properly for that push-up. But modify as needed. Drop down onto the knees. Drop the chest down and push the earth away. Tuck those toes and push back into down dog. Drop those knees down. Lower the chest. Push up. Tuck the toes. Push into down dog. Extended version, micro movements with those feet as you come from that little froggy down dog straight into a plank, into a push-up. Every little foot movement counts for that core strength. And we come high on the knees for our side crunches. Again, no fancy transition here, just onto one knee, reaching and squeezing. Let the face follow the hand so that the ribs really expand and open up here. Look at the hand, then look at the elbow. Reach and squeeze. Nice little squeeze on the end there, and switch sides. Reach and squeeze. Reach and squeeze. Big breaths. Reach, let the face follow the hand, and squeeze. Back onto the other side. Here we go. Reach and squeeze. Reach and squeeze. Reach and squeeze. Keep going. And we move through to the other side. Reach and squeeze. Let the face follow the hand. Let that belly open and expand all the way. Let those ribs breathe, and then squeeze them in. Let that hip flexor open up as you kick the leg back. Squeeze it in. Come back on to your back, using as much control as you can to get there. Feet are planted, hip distance apart. As you bring the hips up, we're going to move through one more transverse abdominal movement here. We're going to keep the legs straight as possible. As we lower that heel down and tap while the hips stay high. Notice where your hands feel most comfortable here. Next to you, how I have them, is going to be the strongest position. Just going to lower that heel and squeeze that knee in for a final hold on that side. Switch. Other leg comes up. You're going to lower it while keeping the hips nice and level, tapping the heel to the floor. Hips stay nice and even. Really pressing with that opposite foot to counter your balance here. Tapping that heel down as you bring that knee in for one final crunch. Check in with your muscles. Feel them. Touch them. How do they feel? Strong. Lower back down all the way and release. Bring the arms overhead so that you can roll into a C position, right into a forward fold. I'm going to do what I like to call my lazy forward fold here. I'm not going to force anything. I'm just going to imagine pulling my chin forward. I'm not going to worry about dropping down too far here. I'm just going to think about where my chin is. Can I relax my spine, my hamstrings, while maintaining my chin being parallel to the floor? And come on out of that. Nice little hamstring stretch there. And come seated in the middle of your mat. I always love to end class with this nice neck stretch. So take your right hand and put it out to the side of you and drop left ear towards left shoulder. And just breathe. Feel the fingertips connecting with the earth. Feel those little tiny guitar strings of tension in your neck. And just tell them to let go. Move, inchworm those fingers around to feel into those guitar strings. And switch sides. Left arm extends out. Right ear drops towards right shoulder. And just breathe. keeping the fingers connected to the earth. And let's end class with a big breath, arms overhead. And exhale as you drag it down to your heart. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.